Don, thank you so much for being here with us today. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got into TEFL and where you're at in the TEFL industry now?
Basically, I had a job opportunity in China, teaching English, and they were prepared to take me without having done a TEFL, due to previous experience that I've had educating people on various subjects, audio being one of them. And yeah, I decided to do a TEFL course to ground me into what I was actually going into.
Mhm.
So that's how I got into it.
All right. And you say you were in China, and what happened after that? Have you been in China all the time?
After China, I moved to Thailand. And in Thailand, I picked up diving, and actually got quite into guiding, and teaching on a small level. After that, I moved to Vietnam, once again, another teaching position. So kind of alternating between the diving industry and teaching English. And yeah, I was there for quite some time. I decided to pursue the diving on a more serious note and also became a diving instructor. So yeah, teaching is pretty much what I do.
John, do you feel that your TEFL course prepared you for the reality of teaching, and why or why not?
Yeah, I think it gave me good grounding. I was a bit nervous to actually stand up in front of people. My previous teaching had always been more one-on-one type of tutoring, not so much a classroom dynamic, and that gave me good grounding. So what I did was the 120-hour practical TEFL, which I would highly recommend doing a practical side, as online doesn't give you that classroom environment that I think is actually good. So yeah, a lot more comfortable standing up in front of a class, being the person actually leading for a change, as opposed to sitting back and taking in information. And also it helped me really understand how to formulate lesson plans, how to look at your teaching material, and think of ways on how you're going to translate that information across, and try and do it in fun and different dynamic ways.
So basically what you're saying, John, is that if you're going to be an in-class teacher, it's definitely helpful to do an in-class course as opposed to an online. I suppose an online course would be good for people who want to teach online, but it just doesn't have that practical essence that an in-class TEFL does have.
Yeah, I think definitely having a practical side is a lot more beneficial when it comes to experience. Even if it's just a small amount of experience, you can actually learn and grow from it quite a bit.
John, what was one thing that you learned during your TEFL course that had a positive impact on your teaching ability or career?
Yeah, something that I learned during my TEFL course, it wasn't really taught to me as such. I discovered it by accident in a way, and that was adaptability. Being able to adapt to an environment in the moment and be able to alter your classroom course, that your subject that you were teaching, to explain something that would come back into it, to really get the concept of what you were trying to teach across. So basically what happened is I was trying to explain a situation, and I used the word perspective, and I realized that my students don't know this word. So now I have to teach them this word to be able to explain the concept that I was getting across. And fortunately, I was able to draw very basic pictures on the board of somebody on a two-story building, somebody looking down and somebody looking up. You know what the difference is in perspective, which, yeah, definitely adaptability helps.
Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely one of the qualities that a teacher needs to have, because every moment is different, and you can even teach the same lesson to 3 or 4 different classes, and you're going to have a completely different lesson with every single group of kids, because the students themselves are different, and you have to cater for them and their
Relate
needs.
to that.
Absolutely agree with you there. John, are there any areas that were not included in your TEFL course that, in retrospect, now as an experienced teacher, that you feel should or could have been?
Yeah, thinking back on my TEFL course, I did it quite a couple of years ago. But something that comes to mind, and I'm not sure if we covered it or not, but something that I feel that should be included is definitely effective ways of disciplining a class. If you need to, if you have some unruly or uncooperative students, how to engage them to be able to control your class dynamics without being, how can I say, too overpowering. So yeah, basically finding ways to discipline.
And I think with the people that I've spoken to over the years, and also the people I've been interviewing, that seems to be a standard answer. And I think a lot of it does have to do with experience, but there are so many skills that can be taught and learned in the, previous, before you start teaching. That's definitely a very important aspect. John, the last question. What is one piece of advice that you would give to a new teacher?
Sure. One piece of advice to give to a new teacher. I would say make your lesson plans, but be prepared that they may not go the way that you expect. Yeah, things don't often work out as they do in your head when you're actually planning them. So once again, adaptability really comes in very helpful there. Something else that I thought about as well is that when you're eliciting a response from your students, wait a little bit longer. The silence is okay, because often what your students are doing is they're waiting for you to feel uncomfortable with that silence so that you give them the answer. Students can be quite crafty. So yeah, learn from your students, listen to them, listen to what they're saying, observe from another perspective, and often they will teach you and tell you how they want to be taught without actually telling you. And you can start to adapt your teaching style to get through to students. Not everybody learns in the same way. So it's important to find ways to communicate that message across and get it understood.
So great. I absolutely agree with you on that point as well. John, thank you so much for spending the time talking with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Sure, you're absolutely welcome.
Thank you, and all the best for your future.
All right, thank you.